You crack the CAT, secure a seat at an IM or a good B school, and then suddenly the first week at that B school seems like a punishment. Well, this is exactly what happened with the students of IM Kozhikode when they were mass ragged by the Placecom team. And while you might be thinking that, hey, I'm exaggerating it, that the Placecom, the students who are supposed to get you place, mass ragged an entire batch, how does that work, and all of those things? Well, hear me out, because that is exactly what I'll be explaining you. And just when you thought that, hey, it is probably a fake news or fake story, it got acknowledged by the authorities of that institute. All of that is in this video. The reason why I'm making this video is because, one, I want to quickly share with you, if you have not heard about it yet, what exactly the incident was. Secondly, I want to share this with you that this happens at a lot of other institutes, even the good ones, the worst ones, and all of that. Third thing, why does it happen? What are the reasons? ये क्या, ये क्यों हो क्यों रहा है? तीसरी and चौथी चीज, what can you do about it? And probably you'd realize very soon that there's a lot which you can do about it, especially in this day and age, in these times where this actually creates ripples, and that I am talking about it on my YouTube channel. And the reason I'm talking about it is one very simple thing. A lot of my students have been asking me that, sir, what exactly happened? Did it really happen? Sir, does it happen at all the institutes? Sir, are there any institute जहाँ पे ये सब नहीं होता है? Because sir, ये सब मुझे नहीं करना है. I'm not even trying to sound funny with this, because this is a serious problem for me as an educator. If students start to ask me that, sir, probably can we skip IM Kozhikode for a different institute, wherein I know that no, probably that's a great institute to be at. All of these things are in this video. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Darpan Saxena, an MBA graduate from IIM Udaipur. I have been the MBA product head at Kaya Launcher. I'm the founder of Creatum, and I help MBA students create fulfilling careers without depending on placements. Now, for those who don't know what exactly happened, I'll quickly explain to you the entire incident. Now, there is a subreddit on which a student of IIM Kozhikode, allegedly a student of IIM Kozhikode, posted the entire incident. Now, what exactly this incident was? That the Placecom asked all the first year MBA students to assemble in the auditorium at 5 a.m. for a so-called CARE activity. Now, the ones who don't know what this CARE as an acronym stands for, then CARE at IIM Kozhikode, it stands for Corporate Access Readiness and Engagement. So it was constituted by the board of IIM Kozhikode so that all the placement training activities and the placement outreach activities by the Placecom fall under this thing, which is CARE. Now, while the name sounds very contrary to what actually happened, CARE, here is what happened. That outside the Audi at 5 a.m., a very odd hour for any standard, for any corporate job, this, that, whatever, at 5 a.m. when the students were standing outside, students were sent back because probably their beards were not trimmed properly or because they were wearing sports shoes. All of this is fair up until how it actually happened. Then probably when the students were sitting on the chairs of the auditorium where they had placed their bags, even that was an issue for the Placecom, to the point wherein if a phone alarm rang, because why not, it might ring, that was a problem. It was not excused. Students were yelled at for that. And also, if you looked sleepy and very drowsy and all of those things, you were yelled at, abused. And for all of these things, while for some of these things you would be like, हाँ ठीक है, beard to trim होनी चाहिए, आप एक proper अच्छे school में हैं and you are preparing yourself for the corporates and everything, your beard should be trimmed. But you need to remember, this is a college after all. And it's not just about what all things happen, it's about how it happened. Now, before we start to think that, hey, how do you know that somebody who posted on this group, that too anonymously, how do you know it's true? I will tell you how this became a legitimate thing. How do we know that, yes, this was true? Moving on from there, now when you go ahead, further more things happen. Students were asked to sit there straight and whatnot, that, hey, sit straight and all of those things, and random name calling. And if you did not shout out your name loud, probably I'm assuming it was a case wherein the Placecom was trying to take the attendance. If you didn't shout out your name loud enough, you were yelled at, abused, and all of those things. Mind you, this entire drill, which started off at 5 a.m., for which the students would have woken up or had not even slept, probably, it started off at 5 a.m. It lasted for 5 hours without any food or anything. And the justification, because the जो facts होते हैं वो बाहर आ जाते हैं कि क्यों हो रहा है. The justification was that, you know what, this is a practice at IIM Kozhikode. Our seniors did this to us and we felt very inspired by that. And they didn't say this word that we felt inspired, but that's what is implied. And therefore we thought that, hey, why not we feel ourselves to be important and let's do it. Now, why am I talking so passionately about this? The reason is very simple. Because just when you thought that, hey, probably this is just a student trying to act smart and everything. This became legitimate when an email from the student affairs chairperson of IIM Kozhikode was sent out to the entire batch stating the following. They reaffirmed that there's a ban on forced batch meetings and student-led sessions. They reinforced that it is there. They also reiterated that participation in any such event is 100% voluntary. It cannot be mandatory, and also violations would be imposed on any such action if reported. All of those things. Then when you thought that, hey, that was it was not it, because then the dean of IIM Kozhikode, the dean of programs at IIM Kozhikode, also sent out a mail to the students stating that the institute acknowledges that yes, there were complaints about this particular interaction which the students had, and now here's the thing, they suspended the SPC. SPC stands for the senior placecom, the ones who were making all of these things happen and abusing and yelling and whatnot. They suspended them. Placecom at IIM Kozhikode has been suspended. Would you believe that? All of this is on mail. And then a formal committee was set up in order to investigate what happened and probably what could be the future course of action in all of these things. And finally, a very golden statement, they encouraged the students to report these incidents. My dear friends, this was exactly what happened, and it's a big deal. But for you to know that exactly what you need to do, you first need to know that why does it happen. And before that, just when you thought that this probably happens just at an IIM Kozhikode or at a few schools, no. Then a similar incident came up from IIM Shillong, which is that a student was humiliated for the shade of the blazer and the coat which he was wearing. A female student was yelled at to the point she started to cry. Students were screamed at, abusive language was used, and they were shamed if the grooming was not right. All of this was being done by the placecom, and usually it's the placecom who does all of these things. And before you thought that, hey, again, these are probably just one or two institutes, I can tell you from my 10 years of experience that this is not just one-off incidents. This happens every year. At some institute, it's very strong, harsh like this. At some institutes, it's very mild, but it still happens over there. And now, because students have access to give information out on the web, be it on a Reddit group or on MBA Social or wherever, these things now come to the fore much easier. You need to know why does this happen. 3 quick points you need to know why does this happen, and then some thoughts, some things which I need to share with you that what probably you need to do. My dear friends, there are 3 reasons why this happens. This systemic ragging, why does it happen? The first thing is, my dear friends, clearly there is unchecked student power. How does it happen that the student body thinks it is in their right to call somebody at 5 a.m.? How does that happen? That happens because it has become a tradition, which is exactly what my point 2 is, that it's a toxic tradition which is now considered to be a part of how the seniors would engage with the juniors, probably also how a placecom would prepare the students for the placement activities, because apparently students need to be prepared to be available at odd hours at 5 a.m., at 3 a.m., and probably they could give them a report which they need to read overnight, and the submission needs to happen at 5 a.m. or something of that kind. All of these things are assumed to be a part of the culture. That is the problem. And the third thing is also very clear, that there is a prestige paralysis and also glorification, and this happens through us, the students. This happens through us because what happens is that probably sometimes we mistake it for that, because it's an IIM at such a prestigious institute, it is supposed to be hard. The experience is supposed to be hard, and you would hear a lot of students say stuff like that, I don't even get to sleep. Yeah, सोने को ही नहीं मिलता है. Yeah, that I'm studying at an IIM. Dude, we don't sleep at all. I came back to my room at 3 a.m. and I just couldn't sleep after that, and we had a class at 6 and this and that. It's all glorified. I've been a student too. I know you get enough time to sleep provided you are disciplined about it and you need to know how to do things very well. It is glorification, and a lot of things we accept because we think it is a part of the process, and also they do a lot of things on you because they want to apparently prepare you for the corporate world. Nowhere in the corporate world does this happen. Not that rigorous for sure. Now here's the thing, what you need to do, what you exactly need to do when stuff like this is happening with you. My dear friends, there are 2 things which I want to speak about, probably a third thing I will add. The first thing is what the Dean of Programs of IIM Kozhikode stated in his mail. Please report incidents. The first reporting you should do is not on social media, not on MBA Social, not on a subreddit. It should be to the director and the dean of the programs and the director of your institute. Probably a few of you, it should not be just one, probably two or three of you should collectively do this and send that mail to them. It is extremely important. The second thing is that you need to realize that you are in a system where the placement is run by students, which in itself I find very faulty. But the reason why a lot of institutes say that no, that is how it should be, is because they give a two-pronged reasoning for it. One, they say is that hey, it's a administrative ease for us if we engage the students to do this activity. That's one. And the second thing is that because this also helps the student to develop their skills of engaging with a corporate and organization and to invite them over. So these two things, while they make some sense that okay, probably yes, a student gets to have exposure, but that also creates an unfair advantage because this happens. The placecomers utilize this exposure to the industry to their advantage. They do that. They place themselves at one of the best organizations. They get the chance to have a early and a prolonged exposure, and obviously the corporates and the organizations will hire them. And you'd be surprised, then how do institutes like ISB Hyderabad survive, wherein the placement activity is entirely run by the B school? It's not run by the students at all. Those kind of institutes set an example as well. So there are options and things which an institute can do, but what you need to do is report those incidents. And the second thing is that, which I always say to my students, reach that level of skill, reach that level of confidence wherein you're walking to a B school not thinking so much about the placement, where placement is your plan B. Can you get to that point? Can you start to earn from your skills so that you know that probably while I'm in my MBA, I'll earn more as a student by doing freelancing or by doing external consulting work, not just in India but abroad. I want to share this with you. When I was an MBA student, I used to freelance. I used to get freelancing assignments from around the world, from US, UK, Australia. I used to earn in US dollars already. When I joined my job post MBA, within 1 year, I was able to leave that full-time job because I realized that, hey, this side hustle of mine, and also I used to run a blog of my own. All of this was because of my skill in marketing. So whatever I was learning in my MBA, I was using it there. Within 1 year, I realized that, hey, I am making half of my salary from that job using my blog. So if I were to give full-time effort to my own venture, which should be worth spending your full time on also, that is also extremely important, then I could probably scale this more. Can you reach that stage? My prediction is 5 years from now, 7 years from now, thanks to this creator economy, thanks to these tailwinds because of Shark Tank and all of those things, more number of students will start opting out of placements because by the time they're exiting MBA, they already have thriving careers of their own. This will happen and you can see it already happen. Aajkal first year MBA student, second year MBA student has started to build their vlogging and their channels. All of them, they do it. I'm not saying do that. Be strategic about it. Probably if you want me to make a video on how to earn during your MBA, how to do freelancing and global consulting during your MBA so that you're not entirely dependent on placement, you can let me know in the comments. Also, if you're feeling anxious about your B school journey, you need to know that I am there. All you need to do is be a part of my free Telegram group. Reach out to me inside there, or if you want to speak to me one-on-one, book a call from my Topmate link, which is also given in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot and goodbye.